the inspirational story about a remarkable person whose turning point in life transformed both his destiny and the lives of millions of others. The Turning Point, the story of Malcolm X. In the early 1940s, a young man named Malcolm Little was growing up in a world filled with poverty, racism, and violence. He was born in Omaha, Nebraska in 1925, to parents who believed strongly in Black pride and independence. His father, a preacher, spoke out against racial injustice, and because of that, their family was constantly harassed by white supremacists. When Malcolm was just 6 years old, his father was murdered, and his mother later suffered a nervous breakdown. By the time he was a teenager, Malcolm's life was in chaos. He dropped out of school after a teacher told him that a Black boy could never become a lawyer. He began drifting from city to city, working odd jobs, feeling hopeless and angry at the world. Eventually, he turned to a life of crime, running numbers, dealing drugs, and stealing to survive. He was sharp, quick-witted, and fearless, but his path led him to a dead end. At the age of 21, Malcolm was arrested for burglary and sentenced to 10 years in prison. At first, prison only made him more bitter. He saw himself as another victim of a cruel world. But everything changed when he met an older inmate named Bimby, who challenged him to use his mind, not his fists. Bimby told him, "You've got more power in your thoughts than you realize." That sentence struck Malcolm deeply. For the first time, he began to think about who he was and what he could become. Inside prison, Malcolm started to educate himself. He read everything he could find: history, philosophy, religion, literature. He even copied the entire dictionary word by word to improve his vocabulary. Books became his escape and his transformation. He later said, "People don't realize how a man's whole life can be changed by one book." He also began learning about Black history and the struggles of his people. The more he read, the more he realized that the chains around his mind were far stronger than the ones around his wrists. This was Malcolm's turning point, the moment he decided that he would never again be powerless. When he was released from prison in 1952, Malcolm was a completely different man. He changed his name to Malcolm X, rejecting the last name Little, which he said was given to his ancestors by slave masters. The X stood for his lost African heritage, his unknown true identity. Malcolm X became one of the most powerful voices for civil rights in America. He spoke with passion, intelligence, and unshakable conviction. He told African Americans to take pride in who they were, to stand up against oppression, and to demand respect, not beg for it. His speeches awakened a new sense of dignity and strength in millions of people. But his journey didn't end there. After years of preaching separation, Malcolm took a pilgrimage to Mecca, where he experienced something that changed him once again. There, he saw Muslims of all races, white, Black, brown, praying together in peace. It opened his eyes to the possibility of unity beyond color. He returned home a changed man, preaching equality, understanding, and love. He said, "The true brotherhood I have seen has influenced me to recognize that anger can blind a man. What is most important is truth and humanity." This was the second great turning point of his life, from anger to wisdom, from division to unity. Sadly, Malcolm X was assassinated in 1965 at just 39 years old. But his ideas lived on. His courage, transformation, and honesty inspired generations to believe that no matter how broken your past may be, you can always rise, rebuild, and redefine who you are. The lesson: the most powerful turning points in life often come from pain, loss, or failure. What matters is not where you start, but the moment you decide to change, to learn, to grow, to forgive, and to rise. Malcolm X's story reminds us that every person has the power to rewrite their destiny, no matter how dark their beginning may be.